Hello everyone, my name is Dayv Doberne, aka Sunyveil, and we are going to continue our Let's Play Eternal series, building a Tier 1 deck from a brand new account without spending any money. I just logged in for the first time in a couple days, and as you can see, we have a bunch of quests that we want to fulfill. This one's an interesting one because it's the promo quest. Well, we've got a few interesting ones actually. This is the promo quest. When there is a promo being given out, all you have to do is win one game in a day, and you will get a promo card, or in this case, a set of, one of each of these promo cards. Typically, it's been one promo card, but this is the first time we're having multiple promos. And then the next day, you can go ahead and win one more game, and then you'll get another card, or group of cards in this case, and you can do that up to 4 times to get a full playset of everything. We also have a theme deck quest. If you remember, at the end of the last video, we were gifted a theme deck, the Elysian deck. So if we win 5 games with a time primal deck, we'll get a nice gold chest, which has about 500 gold in a pack. And then we have a couple more normal quests, which this one wants us to win 1 ranked match, and this one wants us to play 40 time or primal cards in versus battle. So, let's go ahead and finish all these quests to begin today's session. You want to finish your quest not just to collect the rewards, but so that if you don't play for a couple days, the quests have there's room for the quests to build up until you have 3 quests. This is actually 4 quests, and I think the promo throws it off. I think that's like an additional dedicated slot. You might have a promo quest, and then you can have 3 normal quests each day. So we're going to start it off with some ranked games, and I guess we'll go ahead and play that Elysian Wisdom deck. This seems pretty good. I wonder if there's anything that I want to cut. Like maybe the Camel's kind of weak. Oh, Scorpion Wasp is a really good removal card, so I want to see if I can find room for that. Obelisk is another really powerful card, and Sauropod's just better than Terrazon, so we'll go ahead and play that. Let's see. Oh, and Carnosaur is a very nice card, so I'm going to put in the cards that I want to fit in, and then later we will go ahead and cut some cards in order to make room. And Crystallize seems pretty powerful as well. Oh, I'm only playing 2 Stormlynxes. I should play another one. And all of these seem okay. So let's see what we want to cut. I'm not too happy about Camel. Go ahead and cut those. Like, this deck is defensive, but it's not defensive to the point where you need life gain plus a 0/3. We can go ahead and cut the Towering Terrazons because we have Twin Breed Sauropods, which I think are just generally a little better. We need to cut a few more cards. I don't like Twinning Ritual much. It's good with an Echo card or a card with Fate. But generally speaking, I think that it's a little too situational. I'm also not a huge fan of Ancient Lore. It's kind of nice with some of the Echo cards. But if we were thinking about playing Ancient Lore, we may as well play Wisdom of the Elders, which is the same thing except fast, and it doesn't give the bonus to units, which I think is pretty not only situational, but not a very powerful effect. So we're going to try to get through 5 wins with this deck, and that should clear out, or that should finish up all of our quests. So we're going to go ahead and redraw this hand. It's okay, it's defensive, but it doesn't have the time sigil, and I don't know, it's just not all that impressive. Okay, so this hand is in need of something big. There's plenty of big stuff in the deck to draw eventually, like if we draw a Twin Brood Sauropod or a I don't know. Well, there's a lot of things. Okay, so my opponent played just Initiate of the Sands. I think I'm going to go ahead and Static Bolt that. This is a card that you want to prevent your opponent from having most of the time. Sometimes they'll just get stuck on 2 and not be able to do much, but more often than the time it'll give you it'll make it so that your opponent can't outpace you on development too quickly. Okay. Well, we still are lacking a proactive game plan, which I'm I'm a little afraid of, but we'll find one eventually. Okay. Just in case my opponent has a Stormlynx, if there was a pause, then my opponent would be prompted to play something. Just in case they had a Stormlynx, I didn't want to attack there. Oh, and here we go. There's something proactive to do. It's 4 powers worth of flyers. 4 strength worth of flyers. I think that's the official name. And we will go ahead and start attacking in the air. My opponent appears to not have anything they can play, which is unfortunate. I don't think that winning games when your opponent is the equivalent of Magic's Mana Screwed is terribly exciting, but it happens from time to time. It's the cost of having this type of resource system. And I like this type of resource system, like in a general sense. It makes for interesting deck building, but that type of thing can happen. Anyway, so we made some progress in each of our quests. We won the ranked match, so we finished that one. We also won a PvP game, meaning that we will get to get the promos, and here we are. Yes. I can't see what they are? Okay. I don't know how playable these guys are. I'll have to check later. And we got 800 shift stones, which is enough to create a rare for winning a ranked match. Okay. So, let's go ahead and do this again. Renate. Alright, this hand looks good. We've got turn 3 False Prince, which is an interesting card. It's very powerful, but if it is targeted with a spell, specifically a spell, not spell or effect, but a spell, it shrinks down to its true form of a 1/1 frog. Hopefully we'll play it and our opponent won't have an answer and we'll be able to attack a bunch. I mean, that's pretty optimistic, but you know, gotta stay optimistic. My opponent looks like they have a lifesteal guy. We're gonna go ahead and lightning strike this. Lightning strike is a pretty conditional removal spell, and this certainly isn't the most threatening thing you can hit with it, but since we were going to play the False Prince the next turn anyway, I think that not letting my opponent's board get out of hand is a good idea. Anyway, we drew a Second Sight, which is an interesting card. It's draw 2 and then put 1 back on top. Unlike Magic's Brainstorm, you're not looking to shuffle away a card you're not interested in. Instead, you're looking to redraw a card that has Echo or Fate or some effect when you draw it. So it can be very powerful if you have a card that has one of those keywords. Unfortunately, we don't right now, and eventually we can play this just to cycle it, essentially. Okay, our opponent is chump blocking with the Ticking Grenadin, and I don't know how I feel about that. I feel like that may be a spew. But anyway, we may Second Sight to get 1 card deeper to make sure we hit 6 to play our Predatory Carnosaur. That seems like pretty important thing to hit on time. Anyway, we're just gonna go ahead and take this. When this Obsidian Golem dies, my opponent gets a +2/+2 armor, and I'm not interested in letting them have it. Okay, we're gonna go ahead and attack. See what our opponent says. This does have Overwhelm, so my opponent blocked, and they're going to get the armor, but they still take 3 damage. Anyway, going to go ahead and play that Initiative Sands. If my opponent suits this up and makes it a 4/4, ooh, Champion of Chaos, that's a powerful card. Well, if they're not going to suit it up, I'm certainly not going to block. I wonder if I should just Second Sight here to cycle, but I don't think it's worth it. Okay, so my game plan is to play the Carnosaur, take down the Champion of Chaos. Champion of Chaos, as I've mentioned before, is a very dangerous card. It can be a 5/5 with both Deadly and Overwhelm, which means that if it attacks and it is blocked by a 5/5, it's going to do 4 damage to the opponent because it only needs to do 1 damage to kill the unit. Then the remaining 4 damage goes over with the Overwhelm. But it didn't have either of those, so I was able to kill it with the Carnosaur. And my opponent looks like they are not about that. Just feeling a little discouraged by that sequence. I have the 6/6 left over on the Predatory Carnosaur, so it wasn't looking good for them. Alright, so that's pretty solid. 2 wins in a row. We've got, if we can win 3 more, then we'll complete our quest and be able to get a gold chest as well as a pack. Anyway, so I might split this up into a separate video, but after this game, we're going to look to do our first forge. I think we have a quest involving forge, but maybe not. Oh, we have a free forge. I think that's what it is. I can't keep that hand, no power. So, there's a... There's a certain sequence to the beginner quests in this. And I think one of the beginner quests is to complete a forge. And we want to use our free forge coupon, ticket, whatever you want to call it, in order to complete that forge. So this is kind of interesting. I can actually use the seek power here in order to find a sigil, but it counts as drawing a card for the psionic savant. So I think I'm going to go ahead and hold back with it. If I can, I'll play the psionic savant and then seek power. My opponent has a fast spell, which makes me think that they have a torch. Or even a temper will deal with the psionic savant. Ooh. Okay, so that's pretty good for them. They get a 5/5 and they get to deal me 3 with the entomb effect of the ticking grenadin. But fortunately for me, I have a polymorph. And you know what? I need to be able to hit my 5th power in order to play psionic savant on time. So I'm going to go ahead and seek power now. Anyway, so I kind of got a 2-for-1. I mean, if you count this as the deal 4 damage spell, I guess it's not exactly a 2-for-1. It also depends on what you count this as. But that trade was pretty good for me. I do think that the psionic savant is just going to die, but I don't think there's much I can really do about it. If it doesn't die, well, it's going to get pretty big. Pretty big, pretty fast. I'm not blocking. Both of these units are much more exciting than a vanilla 1/1. Alright, so that's pretty good. I could play the second sight now, but if I do think that my opponent has a torch and they try to respond with a torch here, respond to my attack, I can second sight, buffing this and giving this a +2/+2. And then my torch won't kill it, or sorry, my opponent's torch wouldn't kill it because it would be a 4/4 and it would only take 3 damage. So, opponent, what's it going to be? Perfect. Alright. No fast spell from the opponent also, which is pretty unfortunate for them. I'm going to actually hide this on top. I don't think my opponent's playing treachery, but they may be. Anyway, so as you can see, my plan worked out to perfection. They tried to torch the psionic savant, or they waited to torch the psionic savant, then they attempted to torch it, but unfortunately I had the second sight to use as a fast spell to respond to my opponent's torch and give it a fast +2/+2, which kept it alive. These types of tricks and being able to play and being able to set up these traps for your opponent, I think can give you a huge advantage over players that aren't quite familiar with these tricks. So this may seem dirty or small, like that type of thing, but for example there, my opponent just lost a torch for nothing. Anyway, the Echo card is nice because it also counts as drawing an additional card for the psionic savants, and we're looking at a 2-turn clock. It's very rare that these types of decks my opponent's playing will have mass removal, like a plague or something, so I'm okay extending into this. Also, if all they have is a plague, they have to spend their turn doing that, and they're dead to the 2 psionic savants. Alright, ranked streak 3, perfect. Okay, so we need to win 2 more. Ooh, a nice little upgrade there. We need to win 2 more games with this in order to complete our quest, and then we'll go into, well, possibly a forge. But if I do, I don't know. As you can see, I am torn because I think that at some point I will have to complete a forge, and I'm not too interested in playing multiple forges because drafting is more time efficient, and I think also more gold efficient, even if it is more high risk, high reward. It is what I want to be spending my time in this series doing. Also, I have more fun playing against human opponents than the Forge, which is computer opponents, very similar to Gauntlet. This hand looks like it doesn't have a whole lot of action, but you have to remember Twin Brood Sauropod has Echo, so I essentially have 2 5/4s that I can play at 5, and then the Static Bolt and the Scorpion Wasp will do a good job of keeping me alive, hopefully. Alright. Perhaps that Aegis will help me keep me alive as well. But if I ever get up to 7, this is going to be huge. I appear to be drawing a lot of Fate units. Fate cards, I suppose. Cards can also have Fate, not just units. Like this Static Bolt, I guess. Okay, Gorgon Fanatic, huh? That is certainly interesting. A common strategy is to use Gorgon Fanatic, and if it dies, use Haunting Scream in order to bring it back and give it Flying in Charge, bring it back, and hit me with it. And then they sacrifice it to draw 3 cards and gain 3 life, and that's exactly what's happening here. So I'm in the Haunting Scream Recurring Nightmare, not actually the card Recurring Nightmare, but of this guy coming back and hitting me again and again and drawing 3 and gaining 3 from my opponent. So my opponent basically just played a Concentrate there for just 2 power. Obviously not ideal, but we're going to have to deal with it. I don't think that my other course was going to be much better. My other possibility was to chump block, or I could have played the Scorpion Wasp and blocked, but I'd rather play the Scorpion Wasp and block on an opponent's Haunting Scream. So there's the actual Recurring Nightmare. I'm going to go ahead and not block this. It's only going to deal me 1 this turn. Oh, they're going to Rapid Shot? Oh, okay. That is a lot of damage, so it's going to get that permanently. It's going to be a 6-1. Okay. Well, I need to get a presence on the board before I start playing defense, I think. So I'm going to get this Twin Brood Sauropod down. Start attacking. I think I missed an attack with this earlier when I was talking. My opponent's going to have a big Haunting Nightmare, or sorry, Recurring Nightmare. Well, this is going to be really tough. I mean, I have the Scorpion Wasp to help deal with it, but that's a very reactive game plan. If I can get up to 7, I might be able to threaten to block with Mistveil Drake. But yeah, I'm going to be dead. Oh, I'm dead in 2 turns. Wow. Okay, that's well, that was very quick. I don't think there's really much I can do about it. I can try to Scorpion Wasp, but if something goes wrong, we're in for a tough time. And our opponent knows, by the way, that we have something up our sleeve, because if they know I have a second Sauropod based on the first Sauropod, they're going for the kill here. Let's see if they have a fast spell. Even if they don't have a fast spell, if they use a Dark Return or Recurring Nightmare, we're pretty much dead anyway. It does look like they have a fast spell, otherwise there would be no pause here. Devour. Interesting. Well, the good news about that is I get to keep my Scorpion Wasp around. And they have to deal with this before they can kill me with that. Okay, so I'm going to hold back the Scorpion Wasp. It doesn't look like there's a fast spell. I'm going to go ahead and play the Mistveil Drake. That's going to be difficult for them to get through. At least it's going to require a little effort. Even if we are 1 hit away from just dying to the Recurring Nightmare. I think we want to get that. Okay, Polymorph, break the Aegis, probably another removal spell coming. Feeding Time, yep, sure enough. So they had to use 2 removals for that, and that's okay. Unfortunately, The question is, can they kill us this turn? And I think I'm going to go ahead and hedge on no. This may be a bit risky, but I'm going to go ahead and play the Lumen Shepherd. If they can kill this and get the Recurring Nightmare back, we're dead. But if they can't, this gets a little more presence on the board, which is what I want. And then the next turn, I guess they can't get it back? Interesting, interesting. Ooh, that was a good draw. Okay, so my plan was to play the Sauropod and have the Scorpion Wasp up to block. But I think since I drew the Aviasaur, I'm going to go ahead and play the Aviasaur and put the Sauropod back on top so that I can draw 2 more Sauropods next turn that are discounted, so I can play both of them. And after that, I'll be able to play Jotunhurler, which is, or actually, I can play the Jotunhurler and the Sauropod, and then after that, I'll be able to play Sauropod and leave the Scorpion Wasp up. And I want to always have the Scorpion Wasp up because it's a good protection against being hit by Infiltrate. So, again, if they can kill, well, now they have 2 flyers to get through, but if they can give unblockable to the Recurring Nightmare and somehow return it, then we could be in trouble. Yeah, my opponent's going after my flyers now. Ooh, Static Bolt. Yeah, okay, so I'm going to Static Bolt this. That's going to decrease the threat level of my opponent's board. I'll play the Sauropod, and I'll have the second Scorpion Wasp, and I think that should be enough to hold off my opponent for 1 more turn for me to be able to kill them. So that was looking really bad, but I was able to Scorpion Wasp the recurring... Oh, what happened? That's weird. Okay. I was able to Scorpion Wasp the Recurring Nightmare, and that was able to slow my... Like, my opponent didn't have a way to recur either of those cards and to be able to keep their chain going. So... That was pretty close. Those types of decks are a lot of fun to play, by the way. The Recurring Nightmare or Haunting Scream decks, they're not the most consistent, but they're a lot of fun to play. Anyway, so we've played 4 ranked games and we've managed to win them all. So that's certainly a nice little touch there. Anyway, so we're going to go ahead and try to win that 5th game, and if we do, we'll be able to open these packs and see what we get. And I'll be able to disenchant the cards in this deck, the rares in this deck, for I won't need them anymore. Okay, let's see. Now this hand's okay. This hand's not amazing because I don't have anything to pair with the second sight, no Fate or Echo cards. Hopefully I either draw one or we have the time in order to just cycle them. These do essentially just cycle if you play them. Even without any Echo or Fate cards. It's like my opponent has 2 Echo cards, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Yeah, so they're 2 above their starting hand size, which means that they're probably playing a very similar deck. Anyway, so like I said, I'm going to try to hold on to this second sight as long as possible, and my opponent is echoing already. That's a pretty bad sign for me. So yeah, they second-sighted, and then they drew their Echo card again. So now they have 3 copies of something and 2 copies of something else. Terriax Hatchling, very likely card to have. I'm going to go ahead and play the Stormlinks and start attacking, actually. I can fire off a second sight here. Not really exciting. I really want to get value off the second sight. Even if it's just a snowball, the snowball will help clean up the extra Terriax hatchlings. Ancient Lore, huh? Sure. Doesn't look like they drew an Echo card, which is the big fear there. Okay, we're going to go ahead and play this Marazin's Disciple and get a flyer. Essentially trading with half of a Terriax hatchling. It just makes their life a little more difficult. Anyway, at some point we may have to fire off these second sights for no value, but that feels pretty bad. Yeah, I'll go ahead and block. This flyer isn't getting much better anyway. My opponent has a fast spell. Could be another second sight. I don't know what else it would be. They have their own Merzin's Disciple. Let's see what they get. Sandcrawler, huh? I think that, generally speaking, it's better to get a flyer. Like, that Sandcrawler is just trading with one of our units. Oh, they could have a teleport. That's another possibility, and it's kind of an interesting one, because that would make it so that, ooh, we need to get rid of that, but fortunately we'll be able to polymorph it immediately. This is just trading with one of these guys. There's no fast spell that changes combat with just one power and primal and time. In fact, there aren't very many primal cards that change combat. Not too many fast spells, unless you're talking about Second Sight that that buffs a Psionic Savant or something. Anyway, we'll fire off one of these, I think. Lightning Strike, Time Sigil. Okay, well, that wasn't very helpful. Camel, okay. I don't think that our plan is to win by out-aggroing our opponent. The second sight there is problematic because I know that they have one more Echo card. They still have the Teriax Hatchling, so they can just play a lot of Teriax Hatchlings and they'll get us pretty good. I could play the second sight, but I'm holding out to draw a Psionic Savant or something that will get buffed when I draw additional cards. It's not like I need the power now. Okay. Killing the Merzin's Disciple, that's okay. If they want to trade Initiate of Sands, I think I'm okay with that. And I think I'm going to go ahead and use the Lightning Strike now, just to save damage. But anyway, it's not looking good. We have a land next, sorry, a Sigil next. And then, well, we don't really, I don't know, I can... Our opponent just has a ton of Teriaxes. Oh, and now they have Sauropods, so they're going Sauropod Teriax here. Yeah, we need the second sight to do some serious work. It is possible to draw into a card with Echo or... Oh, there we go. A card with Echo or Fate. Just naturally with the second sight, although it is unlikely. Anyway, Seek Power doesn't do a ton now, but I'm going to go ahead and play it. Because with these Sauropods, I'm just going to have a ton of things that I want to do every turn. Alright, we'll go ahead and trade. My opponent has a second Sauropod. They also have another Teriax Hatchling. We can win the Sauropod fight. We can do that. But we're going to need some air defense. Anyway, we're going to go ahead and second sight now. There's some air defense. The Static Bolt is not the most exciting, but I suppose I don't really have a better target for this. Alright, well, if our opponent made an additional Twin Brood Sauropod, we actually have the advantage on those on the ground. So we might be able to battle back from this. Polymorph. Alright. Yeah, I'll trade frogs, that's fine. I think we played second sight last turn, so we have another Sauropod coming, which means we're going to have up to 4 Sauropods in our hand. They do have that Sauropod, which is annoying, but we can use Sauropod plus Wasps to trade off these guys. And then we have the additional Sauropods, which we're just going to deploy turn after turn. Alright. Let's clear the board here. And my opponent has nothing else, and we have 2 more Sauropods. So, this is looking good. This is looking good. They can have Lightning Strikes, which would trade with these Sauropods, but seeing as these had Echo, uh-oh. What is this? They have another... Oh, man. Is that another Sauropod, or is that a Teriax Hatchling? Hatchling. Well, we're pretty low on life, so that's scary. They get a couple 3/2s, then they have... Whoa, why? That's interesting. I don't know why you'd... Okay, well, I guess they're planning on trading. I think that actually they could have raced. Oh, there's a lightning strike. I don't know. That's, yeah, especially with the lightning strike, I think you just want to race in that scenario. Okay, so I'm going to take 5 here. This is going to be big enough to trade at the 3-2. Still pretty far behind on the race, I think. If I can draw a second sight or an echo unit in order to make this big enough to block this one... Oh. I still don't have any good blocks. I think I just need to trade with the 3-2, but even then I'm dead in a turn. So I need to draw a Terriax Hatchling to get out of this, I believe. Or another Psionic Savant. In any case, I don't think that playing this Seek Power and giving this +1 really does a whole lot to help me stay alive. Okay, so let's trade here. Let's draw a Terriax Hatchling to be able to trade with these two. False Prince, huh? Okay. Nope, I'm just dead in the air. Thanks for the game. Well played. I didn't edit my emotes here yet. Normally I say thanks for the game. Because I don't know, it's saying well played to someone that is losing, I don't think that is taken well. Whereas thanks for the game goes well, can go over well whether you win or lost. Anyway, gonna go ahead and redraw this hand. Okay, this hand seems solid. We've got a snowball and we've got some removal and some top end. What's gonna be, opponent? Looks like they included the clock here. I think that's an update with the new patch, which is kind of nice. If you have the game full screen, sometimes you can't see your computer clock. Anyway. So our opponent must have kept their hand. Okay, here we go. Fire Sigil, no Oni Ronin. Alright, looks like they have a Torch based on that pause. It has to be Torch or Temper. Those are the only two cards that would cause a pause there. Anyway, we're going to go ahead and second sight the Jotun Hurler so we can get another Snowball, I think. Actually, yes, definitely. Okay, so Snowball is going to clear that up. No blocks. And the Snowball will be useful for breaking the Aegis on the Paladin so that we can use, say, Lightning Strike on it. Ooh. That is nice, but I don't think we need, like, a huge parade of 5/5s. We just need to stay alive early, and just a couple of bigger units will be able to finish off our opponent, I believe. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and... If my opponent buffs this, that could be annoying, but I'm going to go ahead and Snowball here. This is a very suspicious play, by the way. Like, if I'm my opponent, I'm asking, why didn't they Snowball the Bladekin Apprentice? I mean, maybe, yes, they can discern that I have another Snowball, but it's a pretty clear sign that I'm going to try to kill the Crown Watch Paladin. And yes, sure enough, I want to slow down my opponent's Warcry. If they have a... Finest Hour, then that's really bad for me because I take an additional 5 damage, or sorry, an additional 3 damage, and the Lightning Strike doesn't kill that. But they do not. We'll go ahead and Snowball this. Good. Go ahead and play a Sigil, and then next turn we can start dropping our big units. We even have a Polymorph to take care of a unit that is bigger than we want to deal with. That actually qualifies. So, I think I'm actually going to play this Sauropod here first. Then next turn I'll Polymorph and Terriax Hatchling just so that I can be more efficient with my power usage. Because in a deck like this where you have a lot of cards that you want to play all the time, being able to deploy them at the fastest speed possible is important to playing the deck. So, attack. By the way, if you're wondering why we didn't block, our opponent has quick draw, which means that they would defeat us in combat. They'd attack first in combat, and yeah, our sauropod wouldn't survive to fight back. Anyway, so there we are with the hatchling. The next turn I can play this big Mistveil Drake. My opponent's torching the hatchling. They should... I don't know. They should break the Aegis, because that makes this a 3/3 instead of a 6/6, and that's a big unit. It's a 5/5. Jeez. Okay, well, unless they have another fast spell, it will be stonewalled by my Mistveil Drake. Okay. Go ahead and attack. If my opponent blocks and uses a pump spell here, I'm ecstatic, because that means that they're not using it on my Mistveil Drake. If they attack here, that's really suspicious, and I think I actually don't block. Oh, looks like they do have a fast spell. If they had another torch, they should have used it on me. In any case, I don't think I'm blocking this 5/5, if that's what they're doing. Torch? Maybe they have a Vanquish or something? Or an Obliterate? Yeah, I'm not going to block that. I'll block the 1/1. Oh, okay. I'll rely on my chump blockers in order to buy an additional turn for me to win this race. Let's start with that. If my opponent draws a weapon, I could be in some trouble. Or I could just chump block with the Psionic Savant. With something, and then the next turn I can... Oh, so they do have a Fine Tower. No? Not going to use it? Okay. Interesting. Well, I'll play the Psionic Savant. I'll seek power. The next turn I can play... Oh, so they do have a torch. I'm going to finish that off. Interesting. Interesting. Anyway. Inspire? Okay. So, yeah, this is an interesting board state. I think no one spell actually just finishes me off. So my opponent sitting back with this is a good sign. If they want to use a pump spell to kill my Drake, I think that's okay. Yeah, it looks like that's what they have, a pump spell. Sure enough. Well, I mean, that's unfortunate, because I'm not getting in there for 6, and I lose a 6/6 flyer to a 1-power spell, but I think we're okay. I think what I can do here is I can play the Teriax Hatchling, and I can play the Nesting Aviasaur, and what that is going to do is that's going to let me draw 2 cards the next turn, pumping this guy. She's going to be a 5/5 on the next turn, and I can attack with that or whatever. So that attack there is suspect. I'm happy to just to double block here, and if they have a fast spell to deal with it, that's okay. Anyway, so if they have fast spells, may as well use them. Another Finest Hour. Okay, well. Alright, well. Still have a good block for it, unless and lethal on the backswing. That's unfortunate because that stonewalls my Twin Brute Sauropods. Okay, so we're going to have to figure... Oh, I was about to say, we're going to have to figure something out, and then we drew a Xenon Obelisk. That's going to give all of our units +2/+2, and that is lethal. If my opponent blocks my biggest units, they take 9 exactly. Alright, Xenon Obelisk. Very, very strong card. Giving your entire team +2/+2 once you hit 8 powers. Very much backbreaking in any game that looks pretty fair and normal like this. Okay, so we've completed all of our quests for the day. I didn't keep track of when we started, but I think it took about 40 or 50 minutes. And that gave us quite a bit. It gave us 800 shift zone for one, and it also gave us 2 packs. So let's see. We got a Roland's Honor Guard. We're probably going to dust that. Shiftstone that, I guess, is going to be the new term for that. And Shadowlands Guide. That sees a little bit of play, but I don't think it's very good. We can go ahead and disenchant this as well. I don't know. Generally speaking, I think Assembly Line is a better card to be playing in the decks that want the Shadowlands Guide. But I don't know. Maybe this becomes pretty good at some point. So yeah, the forge is highlighted. We have a free forge, but we're going to check back another time when it's giving us a quest to complete a forge. Okay, and we have those cards. Now we can start disenchanting this deck. I think I'll wait until the next time that I want to play ranked games. So anyway, thanks for joining me. That was completing a few daily quests. We're going to do more of that in the future, definitely. And we'll also have a forge in the future once we get a quest that wants us to complete a forge. So I hope you enjoyed this. Make sure to check out my Twitch channel. I stream 3 days a week, Mondays, Thursdays, and Friday. If you're looking for more Eternal content. Have a nice time, and I'll see you guys with the next video. Bye.